Unit 4, Poetry of George Herbert. George Herbert was a famous Welsh poet, orator, and a priest of the Church of England. Most of his poetry is associated with the writing of metaphysical themes and subjects, and he is recognized as one of the foremost British devotional lyricists. He received a good education from Trinity College, Cambridge in 1609. He served in the Parliament of England in the year 1624. After the death of King James, Herbert renewed his interest in ordination. He gave up all his secular ambitions and took holy orders of Church of England and spent his rest of life as a rector of a rural parish. He was noted for unfailing care for his parishioners and as well as for the healthy, needy people. Henry Vaughan called him as a most glorious saint and seer. He died at the age of 39 due to consumption, that is tuberculosis. He wrote many poetry in English, Latin, and Greek. In 1633, all his English poems were published in the collection called The Temple, Sacred Poems and Private Ejaculations. According to Isaac Walton, George Herbert is a person who depicts his poem a picture of many spiritual conflicts that have passed between God and his soul. And before him, I could mind to the will of Jesus, and he called him as his master. And he was trying to portray the theme with reference to God and soul. So two poems has been prescribed for your study. The first one is Affiliation. This is the original text, and now I will explain you the brief summary of the poem. There are 11 stanzas in this poem, and each stanza contains 6 lines. So the total number of lines in the poem are 66 actually, which is the medium size of George Herbert's poem. And the syllable which is used in this is 10-6, 10-6, 10-10. And the rhyme scheme is AB, AB, CC. So which is a usual one in rhyme scheme, and it is in iambic pentameter. And this is a poem which is taken from the collection The Temple. And the poem begins with the positive aspect of the speaker's life. The same dissolves into the chaos caused by illness and the loss of friends. The specific to Herbert's experience is a reference to the university life as well as that of the clergy. In the beginning of the poem, the poet recalls enormous joys which he have borrowed from his friends, families, and from nature. Then he discusses the benefit that he derived from the people. Now it has become a most delicate one. In the first 2 stanzas, he just explains how he was happy with his friends, his family, and with the nature. In the 3rd stanza, the poet asks many questions. What pleasure could I want? Whose king I served? Where my joys, my fellows were? So these are all the questions were raised by the poet. The poet makes clear that his speaker confused service to God with that to an earthly king, complete with the royal trappings. However, his statements became an argument of sorts. He claims that he did not realize the responsibility that accompanied the rewards. That is why he has lost all of his joy. In the 4th stanza, it is reflected very clear that the satisfaction of every is caused him to live like the month of May. And in the poem, the poet clearly make the reader to understand that all the while he thought that he had the power to choose, his actions have been undercut by a cruel deity. He accuses God directly, claiming that God is the reason for all these things. He has given books, he has given education, he has given good knowledge, and he has given religious communities everything. But he has taken the same privilege, and he had afforded him the same power. In the next stanza, he wonders and says that he goes so far as to wish himself a tree. At the end, he begs God, he pleads God that he wished to become a tree. Because if he has become a tree, at least he can give a trust to the birds, where the birds come and they build actually nest and they be very happy. And this is how he completes a poem by expressing his wish that he want to be a tree. Okay, right. And the next poem is Pulli, and another finest poem written by George Herbert. And this is the original text of the poetry. And let me explain the summary of the poem. Pulli is one of the finest English metaphysical poem written by George Herbert, which reflects humanity restlessness and God's loving wisdom. The poem first appeared in the posthumous collection, The Temple, in the year 1633. When God created man, God wanted to bless him with a cup of blessings, which he has had, and he wanted to give that blessings. So first he gave humanity strength, which can give a path for the rest of the virtues. Then he poured beauty, wisdom, morality, noble, and delight. So first he has given strength, and second he has given beauty, wisdom, noble morality, and delight. And now he has only one actually blessing, that is peace. So God decided not to give that to human being, because he says that if I also gave this last precious gift to the mankind, man would love the things which I gave them and forgot all about him. That means God, the man may forget God if he has given all the blessings to that. So he decided not to give the blessing of rest to the mankind, because after enjoying all the precious gift, man need that rest actually. Man need peace. So he will seek God, he will approach God. At that time, he can bless man with that God. So he completes the poem, he concludes the poem by saying that I have given them, but I also feel a constant, a regretful, a distracting longing. Humanity shall be greatly blessed, but also tired out of by life's travail and by a nagging desire to come home to me. So finally, after enjoying all those things, God believes that man would come to him. At that time, I bore that blessing to the mankind. And these are all the key terms which I have used in the text. And these are all the terminal questions which will help you to understand the entire text. Thank you.